open on the huge projection screen behind her, and Allie glanced over her shoulder. She beamed every time she saw it. She couldn't help herself. She loved the soft blue background and the white, pencil-thin swirls that formed two stick figures with their arms around each other. Let me demonstrate how it works. This auditorium seats 220 people. I assume most of you don't know each other, she said jokingly, and beyond the glare, she could see people looking around and shaking their heads. What if I told you there was one person in this room right now who had more in common with you than with anyone else? Allie held her finger up in front of her. One person who, statistically speaking, you have more in common with than anyone else. Of course, you could leave this room and never know who that person is, but... Allie leaned forward, resting her hands on her knees, and crinkled her nose. Wouldn't it be more fun to find out? Allie waved her phone in the air. We're going to use that audience polling app you installed, so everyone, please pull out your phones and play along. That was the cue for the stage crew to raise the house lights. Now she could see the audience much better, which meant she couldn't help glancing down at Miss Slade again. It looked like she was taking notes, but at least she was smiling. For her 19 fellow CodeGirls, the presentation was a celebration of all the hard work they'd done that summer. But for Allie, it was that and more. Ms. Slade was a mentor for Games for Good, an annual teen coding competition run by Spyglass Games. Allie hadn't even considered applying for the contest at first, but once Click started getting attention at camp, she thought she might have a shot. She'd already sent Miss Slade the code, but she had to nail this presentation if she was going to fill the last remaining spot in the competition. Allie took a deep breath and looked back at the rest of the audience, scanning the room. Ready, everyone? She asked as the screen behind her filled with 4 scenic photographs. Which do you prefer? The ocean, the forest, the desert, or the mountains? Select A, B, C, or D. She advanced the slide. Now, pick a favorite dessert. The screen displayed 4 new images: a bowl of ice cream, a slice of cake, a candy bar, and a piece of apple pie. Allie looked down at her screen. She could see the data collecting in the app she'd built specifically for this demonstration. It used the same algorithm as Clicked, taking all the information the audience entered and immediately matching people with overlapping interests. Let's do some more, so we have lots of information to work with, Allie said, and she flipped through 7 additional slides, asking the audience to pick a favorite superhero, car, breakfast cereal, word, sculpture, color, and houseplant. When you're done with the quiz, Clicked figures out how you scored against each person, but it doesn't immediately tell you who your top friends are, because that wouldn't be as fun, she said with a wink. Instead, Clicked uses sounds, lights, and clues to help you find your top 10 friends. As she walked across the stage, she noticed her legs weren't shaking anymore. She pressed a few more buttons on her phone. I'm shortcutting things since this is a demo. Allie tapped on her screen, and one of the phones in the back of the room let out a sound that startled its owner. Sir, would you please stand? She tapped another button, and a phone in the front row on the opposite side of the theater sounded. A woman held her phone in the air and then stood and turned around. Congratulations! If you two were playing Clicked, you'd be in a spot on each other's leaderboards. They waved at each other from across the theater. That's basically how my game works. You take a quiz, the algorithm figures out who you have the most in common with, and then it uses your smartphone's geolocation capabilities to help you find each other. Everyone clapped as the man and woman took their seats. Allie glanced over at Courtney again. She had a huge grin on her face. Allie looked back at the audience, feeling on top of the world. The leaderboard is dynamic, constantly changing as new people join. The screen behind Allie filled with a picture of the CodeGirls.